Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1800B and today's date is February 25th, 2019 and the title of the episode is Mueller Report Coming, Deep State Losing Narrative, Big Name About to Drop. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about getting prepared and being self-reliant. We've seen what the deep state is capable of. We've seen what the central bankers are capable of. And my main theme has always been to prepare for any situation. Prepare with gold, silver, food, water, medical supplies. One of the best places I found to purchase survival supplies and emergency preparedness gear and food is My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply was founded by people with a passion for self-sufficiency and food independence. They understand the drive to practice emergency preparedness. Why? Because My Patriot Supply are active participants in the survivalist lifestyle. My Patriot Supply offers a vast array of survival items, water filtration systems, emergency survival food, long-term and short-term, heirloom seeds, air purification, survival essentials, cooking gear, power, lighting. So if you haven't started to prepare, this is a great place to jumpstart it all. If you have been preparing, this will be a great addition to your supplies. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today and get prepared for any situation because true freedom comes from attaining a certain level of self-reliance. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are panicking like we've never seen them panic before. They know the Mueller report is coming out, and they were projecting that the Mueller report was going to be a nothing burger, and they were getting the American people ready for this. Adam Schiff is out there, and he's saying that he needs the full Mueller report, and if he doesn't get it, he's going to sue. He's going to subpoena. He's going to do whatever he possibly can because that means they're hiding something from us. He actually tweeted out the following. When Mueller's investigation is complete, the report must be made public. If Attorney General Barr tries to hide it, we'll subpoena the report, insist on the underlying evidence, have Mueller testify, and take it to court if needed. The American people deserve the facts. Now remember, Barr is supposed to get the report first. He's going to look it over. He's the one that decides how this is played out, not Adam Schiff. Secondly, I do believe they're going to make many of the areas transparent. Now, what Schiff really wants is all the investigation work. He wants everything from behind the scenes. Now, remember, the mandate was Russian collusion, nothing else. And I think Adam Schiff is getting very, very nervous and trying to figure out other ways to say Mueller didn't do a good job, and that's why we have to continue with the investigation because he didn't go into all Trump's, bank records and businesses, but that wasn't the mandate. The mandate was Russian collusion, period. The end of story. What they're doing is they're trying to keep their insurance policy active. But we know this is all going to fail. Once the D-Class comes out, it's the end of all these ridiculous investigations. Now, the deep state, they're not giving up. They're still trying to hit Trump from all different angles. This is coming out of the Washington Post, where Alva Johnson, a campaign aide back in 2016, is saying that Trump forcibly kissed her. And this happened outside of one of his rallies in Tampa, Florida on August 24th, 2016. Johnson said she turned her head as Trump leaned in and the alleged kiss landed on the side of her mouth. I immediately felt violated because I wasn't expecting it or wanting it, she said. I can still see his lips coming straight for my face. Now, Johnson says she told her boyfriend, her mother, her stepfather, later that day about the incident. All three confirmed the story to the Post. And of course, we can believe the Post and we can believe these individuals because all the other stories that we've heard turned out to be true, which they didn't. So the White House came out and they said that the allegations are absolutely absurd on its face. Now, the White House is saying that this never happened and is directly contradicted by multiple high credible eyewitness accounts. Johnson said Pam Bondi, the then Florida Attorney General, and Karen Giorno, director of the Florida campaign, witnessed the alleged kiss. Both women denied seeing Trump kiss Johnson. Stephanie Grisham, First Lady Melania Trump's spokeswoman and the president press director in 2016, said she also did not see the alleged incident. Grisham told the Post she was in front of Trump as he left the RV. Now, what's very interesting is that Alva Johnson was so traumatized that she attended one of the inaugural balls and twice applied for jobs in the Trump administration. Ms. Johnson actually sounds more like a stalker who is infatuated with Trump and maybe been promised other things to put this story out there, to seek fame and notoriety, to receive funds. And it looks like she was passed over for a job, and it seems like this is her revenge to get back at Trump. And once again, just like the Stormy Daniels story and all the others, it's going to be proven that it's completely false. They're doing whatever they possibly can to come at Trump at every single angle to try to get him on something. But they've been trying all along, and each time it fails. I mean, think about how many times have they interviewed Stormy Daniels, like on CNN and MSNBC? How many times have they mentioned Russian collusion over and over and over and over again? And it's all turning out to be fake, phony, and false. This is the only way they know how to work propaganda, to continually repeat it with no evidence. Because if you had all the evidence, documentation, and everything else like that, you wouldn't have to continually repeat it. Now remember, the deep state, they're the ones who brought in Mueller. They're the ones who created the mandate, Russian collusion. Now they're turning on the individual they put into this position because this individual has nothing. And the investigation is ending a lot earlier than they wanted. I believe they wanted this going until the next election or until they got Trump out of office. But since William Barr is in there now and he's ending this, because of what Q has been showing us, what the different questions he asked Mueller and Rosenstein, we can see that there's no reason to keep this investigation going any longer. Think about what the deep state really wanted. They wanted Trump to fire Mueller because they could use this against him. They kept Mueller there because it was a firewall block. Trump, the Patriots, they couldn't do anything. This investigation is ending way too early for them. They don't know what to do. They're scrambling. Now, Trump is tweeting out about the wall, about the national emergency, keeping this in the news and making sure everyone understands that this is still a high priority topic. And the main goal is to close the borders, to cut the deep state off from everything. And he tweeted out the following: "We have a state of emergency at our southern border. Border Patrol, our military, and local law enforcement are doing a great job. But without the wall, which is now under major construction, you cannot have border security. Drugs, gangs, and human trafficking must be stopped." And remember, the wall is being built. He has the other funds. He doesn't need the national emergency funds as of yet. While all these states in the deep state are suing him in the Ninth Circuit and then taking it up to the next court, he's busy building the wall, cutting them off. #winning. Now, yesterday we talked about Venezuela and how the Washington Post put this article out about how 200,000 people attended this concert on the Venezuelan-Colombian border. And we said that Moon of Alabama, had a drone flying overhead, and it shows that there were not 200,000 people at this concert. It was a lot less, maybe around 20,000 people. Well, it looks like the Washington Post, they decided to rewrite their article and create a second version of the article, which mentions Branson but eliminates the 200,000 individual figure that attended the concert. Then they created the most recent version of the article that has no mention of the 200,000 people or Branson or his concert. Now, why did they change the article? They changed it because they were proven they were peddling fake news. And you can see again from the aerial photos that there are not 200,000 people there. Maybe at the most 20. That's it. That whole entire agenda, the narrative, failed. Remember, this push to get into Venezuela, this has been a deep state dream for a very long time. They've wanted this for a very long time, and they've tried everything. But when you start to compare what has been happening in Venezuela, and I'm not saying Maduro's a good guy, bad guy, let the people decide on their own. Just like here in the United States, let the people decide. If it's an election system that is monitored, you have voter ID, and it's all on the up and up, the people will decide who they want as their leader. Here in the United States, we don't have voter ID. So we see a lot of voter fraud. Venezuela, UK, Sweden, France, Germany, they all have voter ID. So guess what? When the news comes out that they've been stuffing the ballot box in Venezuela, it's impossible because actually it's a fingerprint system and everyone is ID'd. But they don't want anyone to know about that. So they put out articles and they show all the people surrounding Guaido saying he has this huge following, but they never show the articles showing how many people support Maduro, and there is a lot. Remember, the deep state uses trickery. The mainstream media uses trickery, which is propaganda, to make you think one way instead of another. I mean, let's take, for instance, the bridge. This bridge that they continually show pictures, Rubio was down there, he was showing pictures and showing that they won't let the aid through. Well, this bridge was finished in 2016, but it was never opened. The barricades and everything that you see, they were there since then. Why? Because it's the bridge between Colombia and Venezuela, and they've been arguing back and forth, so they kept the bridge closed. The other thing is the Red Cross, the UN, Russia, China, they've been sending aid to Venezuela. And they've been cooperating with the Venezuelan government. So, once again, Rubio going down to this bridge, it's a publicity stunt. Just like he tweeted out showing Gaddafi, all healthy and then bloody, saying this is what's going to happen to Maduro. This whole thing is a publicity stunt. They're trying to push their propaganda, and it is not working. And once again, I go back to say, I believe Trump and the Patriots are letting these neocons, these deep state individuals, do what they do best. Flush them out. You know exactly who's who. Yes, I know Trump is against socialism, but he's not against the people deciding who they want as a leader. And in Venezuela, the people can decide who they want. It shouldn't be the U.S. It shouldn't be Germany. It shouldn't be Russia. Just like here in the United States, we shouldn't have another country telling us who we should have as our leader. The people here, without voter fraud, with voter ID, so we can actually have a fair voting system, the people will decide each and every time who we want as our leader. That's the power of the people. Now, out in Afghanistan, peace is moving forward. Afghanistan is planning to hold a Grand Council of Tribal Elders and political leaders next month to discuss how to end the Taliban insurgency and to have peace. And we know that the Trump administration has an individual in Afghanistan talking about peace, and I do believe we will be entering the peace zone. The same thing with Syria. All the troops will be removed from Syria. There's still certain logistics that they have to finish up in Syria, but eventually what's going to happen, all these wars are going to come to an end. And what's very interesting is that out in Iraq, former Iraqi Prime Minister Maliki came out with something very interesting. Now, he served as Prime Minister between 2006 and 2014 when Obama was president. Now, Maliki came out and he said that Obama, he allowed the Islamic State to be created and he allowed them to prosper in Iraq and in Syria. Now, this is very interesting because we knew this from the very beginning, and actually Q confirmed this, that the intelligence organization, Obama, they're the ones who were controlling and helping the Islamic State. Remember, back then, Obama took away the power of the armed forces. He decided what targets were going to hit. He decided when they were going to hit them, which allowed the Islamic State to gain more and more territory because their mission was to get rid of Assad. Now, out in Syria, we can see there's another field commander, another jihadist commander that was assassinated. And I noticed that there's assassinations of all these different terrorist commanders, these paid mercenary commanders. They're being knocked off one at a time here. And it looks like someone is doing some type of cleanup work so these individuals never talk, because they have a lot of information they know, and they were accepting orders from the deep state, the intelligence organizations, and whatnot. And it looks like each one of these individuals are getting knocked off one by one. So that's very interesting. Let's get into some of Q's posts here. The first one is 2885, and Q says, they never thought crooked Hillary would lose. So many disastrous mistakes made. Returning power to the people, Q+. So again, Q+ we know as the president telling us that he's returning the power to the people. Post 2886 put up a graphic here, and it says Kid Love Productions, and this is tied to Bill Maher. And it looks like Q is bringing up Bill Maher once again, and Q says those who are the loudest, well, they speak out. And remember, Trump, the Patriots, they're going after the pedophilia rings. They're going after human trafficking. The wall is being built. And it looks like Q is pointing to Bill Maher, saying that he's out there screaming quite a bit. So he's also bringing our attention to the name of his production company, which is Kid Love Productions. Remember, Bill Maher also wore the red shoes. At one time, he was doing his show, and he was talking about this 14-year-old boy having sex with a 30-year-old woman, and he saw no problem with it whatsoever. And there's some memes here that Q tied into all of this. So Bill Maher is loud and fearful because POTUS is taking out the pedophiles and human traffickers. Post 2887. Q puts up a tweet by Trump. I have instructed Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and he fully agrees not to allow Hoda Muthana back into the country. And Q went on to say, ask yourself a simple question. Should a woman who travels to Syria to support and encourage jihad against the West deserve to live in the United States? Ask yourself a simpler question. If brainwashed by the Islamic State terrorists, her husband and other close proximity fighters, could this same woman be tasked and trained to carry out a terrorist act upon return? Yes. Why did the Islamic State launch a social media campaign designed to attract US, UK, and other foreign nationals to join their cause? Logical thinking. Well, I do believe, going back in time, that the intelligence agencies wanted more and more individuals out in the Islamic State in all these countries. So once everything was said and done in Syria, they would return here to the United States, and they'd be able to use them to carry out other terrorist acts in the United States. And I believe this is what Q is talking about. So basically, the Islamic State recruited Westerners to carry out terrorist attacks in their home countries. Post 2888. Q puts up a tweet, and this is an old tweet by Patton Oswalt. And it says, the angry tweets from my hammer-toed followers opened my eyes. Pedophobe. Shaming hurts us all. I am a proud pedophile. And this was July 9th, 2013. Gave us another tweet. My dong is super friendly and loves getting rubbed by children. Hashtag career-ending Twitter typos. This was November 4th, 2013. Q says, who will be next to fall post-Weinstein? Big name coming. Nobody is safe. Dark delight. These people are sick. Now, does Q mean Patton Oswalt? No, I think he's using Patton as an example. Yes, there might be a problem with this individual, and it's starting to seem that way. He actually tweeted out today a very interesting tweet, and it said, hey, so I just took at Delta Flight 2643 from Phoenix to New York City, JFK, and I left my iPad mini on the plane. I was in seat 2B. It was a nice flight because I had my iPad, which has a ton of books on it. I am currently reading Gerald Murnan's Tamarisk Row. If you find it, let me know. So is he worried that there are other things on there that people are going to see? Maybe. And it looks like Q is telling us that somebody big is going to be implicated, most likely in some type of pedophile, human trafficking type of ring. And this person is going to be very big. Post 2889, Q just gives us a link to The Hill. And this is Dear Attorney General Barr, advice from insiders. Now, there is a lot of insiders trying to tell William Barr what to do. We have John Brennan, James Clapper, Samantha Power, Susan Rice, you name it, they're trying to tell him what to do. Now, in this article, it says, there are many experienced intel officials with a lot to say about what they've seen and experienced on the inside, but they don't have public platform. They don't appear on TV. They don't tweet. Nobody of consequence asks for their advice, and they won't have the chance to tell Attorney General Barr in person what they think. Yet, they do have some thoughts as to what should be his immediate priorities. In order for them to be able to speak frankly and without repercussions, they prefer that their names not be public. Two of them specifically offered that some former intel officials should go to prison or belong in jail for offenses they have committed. One commented on what he called their wanton lawlessness and unconstitutional actions. What seems important is that these are not the opinions of random fly-by-night government employees. So who are they? Each has decades of intelligence experience working under Democrat and Republican administrations. Their experience includes field agent and managerial positions. They have served in cabinet-level office under President Obama as an FBI unit chief, as an FBI attorney, as senior-level CIA official, as a two-star military officer, as an NSA forensic expert, as an officer in the Defense Intelligence Agency. Obviously, Attorney General Barr is free to factor in or to disregard their comments as he pleases. They are simply the responses provided when asked what should be Attorney General Barr's top priorities. And they had some recommendations here. I don't agree with all of them, and many people are saying that they don't agree, but here are some of them. Review Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, transactions from the Obama administration. Yes. Assigned hand-picked Inspector General investigators to conduct a broader review of the FBI's handling of the Hillary Clinton classified email investigation, which Q has told us this is already being done. Review the FBI conduct in the Russian investigation. This is already being done. We already know what has happened there. The D-Class will tell you everything. Ask Special Counsel Robert Mueller to promptly complete his report on Russian interference in the 2016 election. Declassify and release as much information as possible, because if Donald Trump loses in 2020, all the dirt will never see the light of day. Well, this is ridiculous because Robert Mueller went off the mandate. Robert Mueller, he went in many different directions that had nothing to do with Russian collusion. So should everything be declassified? No. Certain things had nothing to do with it, so that shouldn't even be part of the report. Vigorously prosecute any and all of those who may have violated the law in the upper echelon of the FBI. Chris Wray appears to be doing a good job, but FBI indictments are needed against all former FBI officials that undertook action to undermine the proper role of the FBI in 2017. Well, they should also arrest and put these people in prison for treason against the president. Through legitimate activity and correction of known problems, Barr should restore confidence of all Americans that the Department of Justice consistently enforces justice for all, no multiple tiers of who gets prosecuted. Yes. As an independent entity without political agenda. Yes. Does not violate any individual rights guaranteed by our Constitution. Yes. Initiate a comprehensive internal review of Department of Justice practices, going back in time to see if these individuals were on the up and up. I do agree with that, if they're going to do that. Including those related to FISA, to fix problems. This calls for a nonpartisan oversight body who reports directly to the AG and would report progress periodically to Congress. Conclude the ongoing special counsel investigation and follow through on recommendations without any appearance of political bias. Just follow the existing Freedom of Information Act law. Now, some of these I agree with, some of them I don't. A lot of this stuff is already being done within the Trump administration, where they have these individuals going after certain individuals. So, why did Q decide to give us this? To let us know that everyone is trying to get in on what Barr should do. I do believe Barr knows what he needs to do. Follow the rule of law. Period. And those people who committed treason, those people who were traitors, those people who didn't abide by what they were supposed to be doing, well, they need to account for all of this. If the investigation into Hillary Clinton emails wasn't done properly, those individuals who covered it up, they need to account for this, following the rule of law. We can see already by Q's posts questioning Mueller, questioning Rosenstein, he's already showing us that these individuals weren't following the rule of law. The deep state is in trouble. They're trying everything they possibly can to get out of this. And they're trying to push Barr in certain directions. Do I think it's going to work? No. Why? Patriots are in control. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.